Ripple minted $449 million of its own stablecoin over the last 30 days, and $448.9 million of it is already gone. Burned, destroyed on purpose, at a 99% burn rate, and the latest chunk of it was 34.7 million RLUSD, wiped at the treasury in a single move. This is your XRP news desk. Now, if you just heard that and your stomach dropped, I get it, because that is exactly what it sounds like when a thing is falling. It sounds like they printed money nobody wanted and had to quietly take it back. That is not what happened. It's close to the opposite of what happened. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to explain it to anybody in about 30 seconds. Stay with me, because there's a second number underneath this one, and that's the one that actually decides how you read the first. So let's start with what got printed, and let's be careful about it. Over the last 30 days, Ripple issued $449.3 million worth of RLUSD directly on the XRP Ledger. Over that exact same 30 days, $448.9 million worth got burnt. Not lost, not hacked, burnt, which in stablecoin language means an issuer took the tokens out of existence because somebody handed them back and asked for real dollars instead. Mint when they want tokens, burn when they want tokens. That's the whole mechanic. Tokens in when somebody wants tokens, token deleted when they want their dollars back. And that is the boring truth sitting underneath a very scary headline. Now do the basic subtraction with me. $449.3 million in, $448.9 million out. That leaves about $400,000 of actual net growth on the ledger out of nearly $500 million that moved. Almost nothing stayed. Nearly $500 million moved through, and what stayed behind was $400,000. And the report that I read called that an anomalous monthly trend and said the cause was the high intensity of sudden redemptions by institutional clients. So that's the picture. Big money came in, used the thing, and then left again over and over for a month. So what does a company actually do in those few seconds? They're not investing, they're paying somebody. A firm in one country needs dollars to land in another country, and instead of wiring them through 3 banks and waiting 2 days, they hold a dollar token for the length of the trip and hand it straight back when it arrives. Hold it for the trip, hand it back at the door, that's it. Here's the question that matters, and I want you to sit with it for a second, because your answer to it actually decides how you read every RLUSD headline for the rest of this year. Is a 99% burn rate a sign that nobody wants this, or a sign that it's being used exactly the way it was built to be used? Think about what a dollar token on a payments network is actually for. It isn't a savings account. Nobody is supposed to buy RLUSD and hold it for 5 years hoping it goes up, because it can't go up. That's the entire point of the thing. It exists so that a company that needs to move money from here to there can hold dollars for a few seconds it takes them to get across, and then it can be done. So a token that gets minted, used, and burned inside a month is a token doing its job. A token that gets minted and just sits there is a token nobody found a use for. And the report itself said that the network is functioning almost exclusively as a high-speed transit corridor. Transit, not storage. Money passing through the ledger, not money parked on the ledger. A corridor is not a car park. Now I owe you the other side of that, because this desk doesn't sell you one half of the story. Near zero net growth does mean the supply of XRP isn't building. If you were hoping to watch that number climb month over month as proof of the world is piling in, this month it didn't give you that. And I'm not going to pretend that it did. The report called it a deep cross-chain imbalance. And that phrase is doing real work. It means the balance is sitting somewhere else on the other chains, not here. That's a genuine thing to watch, and I'll be watching it. But watch what happens when you put that number next to the one I just ran alongside it. Active addresses on the XRP network went from 27,600 to 34,300 in 24 hours. That's a 24% jump in one day. And the wider length number hit a 2-month high of nearly 50,000 daily active addresses. So the money isn't parked. The wallets are multiplying. And what is an active address really? It's one wallet that did something that day. Not a person, not a customer, just one wallet that moved. So when that count jumps 25% in a single day, it means a lot more of something has happened, even though the price has sat still. And that jump was measured over 24 hours before yesterday's report. while the price had been doing almost nothing, sitting right around $1 in a range so tight the whole session fits inside about 1.5 cents. That gap is the story, not the burn. The gap between what the wallets are doing and what the price is doing, that gap is this whole video. Because here's the thing about the chart. The chart tells you what people are willing to pay. It does not tell you what people are doing. And right now, those two things are important in different directions. When they point in different directions, one of them is early. Let me give you the third piece, and then I'll show you how they fit. Binance is doubling the maximum leverage on XRP and RLUSD this Friday, the 21st at 6 in the morning UTC, from 5x to 10x. And that move puts XRP and Ripple's stablecoin on the same footing as BNB, Solana, Cardano, and Dogecoin in what the exchange calls its highest liquidity category. Now, I want you to be careful here because leverage is not a compliment. More leverage means more people can get liquidated faster. And I'd rather you heard that from me than found out on a red candle. So why would an exchange do this? It's not as a favor. I promise you that. An exchange doesn't hand out double leverage on an asset it thinks is thin, because if the book is thin, the exchange is the one left holding the mess. That decision is a statement about the depth. It's also a statement about how much can move without the price snapping. So put the three together. $500 million flowed through the ledger and left almost no residue because it was moving, not sitting. The wallet count jumped 24% in a day, and the biggest exchange in the world just decided the book is deep enough to carry twice the leverage. That's not the profile of an asset nobody is touching. That's the profile of an asset being used a lot and priced like it isn't. Used heavily, priced like nobody showed up. And one more thing, and it's the most human one. David Schwartz, Ripple's CTO, got asked straight on X whether he sold all of his XRP, and he actually directly answered it. He said he's down from about 26 million from his peak to about 2 million now. And he said, I think, which means treat it as his estimate, not a filing. That's about 92% less than he used to hold. Now you can read that in two ways, and both readings are honest. You can say a founder error figure selling down 92% is exactly the kind of thing holders should notice. Or you can say a man who's been in this since the beginning took some money off the table over more than a decade, which is what any sane person would do. I lean towards the second, and I'll tell you why. He answered a hostile question in public with a number, when saying nothing would have cost him nothing. But you should hold your own view on that one. And if yours is different, I want to hear it in the comments, because that's a genuine call. So where does this leave you tonight? You came in on the headline that said 99% of $500 million got destroyed. And what's exactly underneath is a payments token doing exactly what a payments token does on a network whose wallets count jumped a quarter in a day, on an asset an exchange just decided is liquid enough to double the leverage on. The burn isn't the wound. The burn is the pulse. A wound means something broke. A pulse means something is running. And the number to keep, the one to carry into next month, is the net figure, $400,000 of net growth on nearly $500 million moved. If that number stays near zero while active addresses keep climbing, you're watching a corridor get busier. If that number starts building while addresses flatten, you're watching a reserve pile up instead. Those two are completely different futures, and they look identical on the price chart, which is why the price chart keeps fooling people. So what do you actually watch from here? Not the mint, the net. Watch the net, not the mint, because the mint tells you how much moved and the net tells you how much stayed. If this made the burn headline make sense, send it to one person you know who saw it today and thought it was over. Stack facts, not fear, and I'll see you in the next video.